Put the mic where your mouth is.
Yes, sir.
All right, man, let's keep it moving. Next topic.
Broadcasting from sea to shining sea, 0400 Across the Street Productions presents the 0400 Across the Street Sports Pod Report. Now, here are your hosts, Derek Little and Jay Taylor. Yes, sir. Today is October the 25th, 2017. Yes, indeed. We are back in the booth, ready to go. But first, we got some power rankings for you. Martavis Bryant. Wow. And the NBA season is just kicking off. They're doing the right thing. We're looking forward to it. As always, as usual, we have a great show on tap for you. As always, big time news, big time show. Can't wait. All that and more on tap for you on this podcast.
I absolutely glad to be back here with you, man. It's been a minute. Had to take a little time off, handle some personal business, but always glad to be back up in here, back in the booth, doing what we love to do. All right.
Yes, sir.
We'll first jump into the NFL. We wanted to cover the NBA, couldn't get to it, but we've got a good sampling of games to actually see what's really happening. No rapid reaction, only some measured thought here for the NBA season. But let's get into these power rankings real quick, okay? At the beginning of the season, New England looked like they were falling off a cliff. They're number one in the power rankings now. Followed by the Philadelphia Eagles, much deservedly. Probably the Eagles should be over the Patriots, but they still got Tom Brady, so we can't really argue with that. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Dallas Cowboys round out the top five. All right. You keep going down the list. You got the Seahawks, the Rams, the Vikings, Houston, and Oakland. Vikings probably jumping up because of the absence of Aaron Rodgers, obviously. What do you think about the list?
Well, one, I think the Cowboys are rated way too high. Okay. I think the Cowboys are probably outside of the top 10. Okay. I definitely think Seattle, Los Angeles, and the Vikings, the Los Angeles Rams, that is, I think all of them need to be ranked higher than the Cowboys. Right.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at their record.
Why are you so down on your boys, man?
It's not being down. It's just looking at these two teams. The Rams have already beaten the Cowboys, right? So how can you have the Cowboys rated higher than the Rams?
It looks like we saw that big performance by Ezekiel Elliott against the 49ers.
Team. It was against a winless team.
But it was still a big performance. That might have been something to get their footing back, to get going in the right direction.
Once they get their footing back, then you can rank them based on that. I mean, at the end of the day, the 49ers are 0-7, right? And I understand, Skip Bayless and a lot of Cowboy fans, they're looking at the fact that the 49ers, their previous 5 games had lost by a combined 13 points, not losing by more than 3 points in either game of those 5, and then they come in against the Cowboys and they lose 40-10. But the thing is that at the end of the day, they are an 0-7 team. Okay?
Yeah, they are.
Those are teams that you have to beat when you go in there. Now, here's the thing: what do you give the Cowboys for if they play it close against the 49ers? I mean, how do you rank that? Yeah, look, they took care of business. Again, it's against an 0-7 team.
They did what they were
supposed
to do.
I want to see them play against the Redskins. I want to see them play against the Chiefs. They have the Eagles coming up, and then they have the Falcons. These next 4 games, you will know exactly who the Cowboys are and if, in fact, they are on the right road. And that starts this week. I believe getting back to 500 was important for the Cowboys. The bye week, getting Sean Lee back on the field. I think all of that stuff is important. But you cannot rank the Cowboys higher than the Rams or the Vikings, and for that matter, you can't rank them higher than the Seattle Seahawks at this point in time.
Coming into the season, the Cowboys were probably the favorite, just based off of last season. They were probably the favorite to win the East, and now they are climbing uphill because the Eagles put a lot of separation between themselves and the rest of the East with that win over the Washington Redskins. And now you got the Cowboys coming off their bye, okay? Not directly, but they already had their bye week. It's all game now. All right. The rest of the season, they got to keep climbing, keep pushing. You have the uncertainty of Ezekiel Elliott. And whether his 6-game suspension is going to be served this year, going to be pushed to next year,
right?
Who knows what's going to happen?
Absolutely.
It would suck if they hit him up with it, with 6 games left in the season, right when the Cowboys are clicking and moving. But it's an uphill climb nonetheless, especially when you got the Eagles up there, you got Washington up there. Let's not forget about those guys. I mean, Kirk Cousins, even though they lost to the Eagles, which the Eagles are a very good team.
And I'm gonna give you a few other teams that I think that should be rated higher than the Cowboys. You look at the Buffalo Bills, you look at the Saints, you look at the Jaguars.
Right? Saints reeling off 4 in a row right now. They're hot.
These are teams that I think right now, based on their record and the way that they're playing right now, deserve to be ranked higher than the Cowboys. Right? Now the rankings are something that is water cooler talk.
It's week to week.
It really is week to week. I mean, you're talking about a Cowboys team just in these rankings that they beat a 0-6 49ers squad, and then they jump almost 7 spots from number 12 to number 5. It's like based on that game, really.
I think people want to see I think people want to see the Cowboys succeed. We know they have the tools to do it.
Right. So they definitely have the tools to do it, but they don't have the pedigree. We don't know exactly who they are just yet. Are they built for the postseason? Will they get to the postseason? Can they make a long run? We don't know that just yet. So without that pedigree, you can't give them the benefit of a doubt that we give, say, the Patriots or the Steelers or the Seattle Seahawks who've been down that road. The one thing that I look at the league right now and I see is you have the Eagles, which they really haven't beaten anyone. I'll go on record and say that. But other than the Eagles, everyone else is literally at the 2 and 3 loss range. I can't think of another time when you've had at this point in time in the season where everyone is really just in the middle of the pack. No one other than say the Eagles at being at 6-1 has really differentiated themselves from the pack and actually stood out as far as the best team in the league. I mean, because if I ask you who's the best team in the league, you can say the Eagles are at 6-1
right
then
now.
If you came and you actually said, you know what? Kansas City is. You can't be wrong with that answer. If you say the Steelers, you're not wrong with that.
You had Oakland just made a little dent in the West out there, AFC West with the win over Denver, or I'm sorry, over Kansas City. Okay,
right.
So they may be getting their footing back, but Derek Carr looked really good in that game. But the Eagles right now look to be the hottest team.
Right.
Okay. They look to be the hottest team. They look to be building towards something. Obviously, the team with the best pedigree and the team you expect to be there is at the top, pretty much week in and week out, which is the Patriots. Tom Brady's still looking good, and the Steelers are a mixed bag, man. Honestly, they really are. Like you really don't know what you're going to get from them week to week. You could get a great performance. Ben Roethlisberger is ready to play another 5 years, or you can get a horrible performance where he's ready to hang him up the next day.
And another team that you can possibly say that about is the Seahawks.
Exactly.
You look at the Seahawks and their offensive production does not match what it should be. Right. Jimmy Graham, I think I was watching the highlights to the game, and matter of fact, I was watching the game and it was boring. And the thing was, Jimmy Graham was just dropping balls left and right. It was like, his hands did not travel to New York. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that team and they depend on getting him the ball so much. They don't have a steady running game, and they don't have a passing game, and they put so much on that defense that there's going to come a time that they're going to play against a team that has a real good running game,
right?
Whether it's the Falcons, whether it's the Cowboys, whoever it may be, and they're going to control the clock on this defense, and they're going to have that defense on the field, and that offense is not built to go out and score points.
Not really. No, it's not. That's just not who they are. But it's. As long as you build the offense and the defense around that, you should be successful. But just speaking of the big differences between the NFC and the AFC, you got Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Alex Smith, a lot of veteran leadership over in the AFC. All right, with Aaron Rodgers gone right now, Carson Wentz is the guy, 2-year guy.
And Drew Brees.
You got Drew Brees. You still got Drew Brees. Right. You got Dak. Obviously, Matt Ryan. The Falcons have kind of fallen into that that hangover. They've fallen
Yeah.
into the hangover zone, and we don't know if they're going to be able to get it back going again. They could, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
they're just not showing that they're going to be able to do it. You got Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Watching the game the other night when Philly was playing against Washington, and Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, this is exactly who he is. Right. You're talking about NFC quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins, I think, to me, I thought he had a good game. Right. But Washington, based on what they need Kirk Cousins to be, because of the fact that they don't have a good running game, they don't have a great passing game as far as wide receivers, you're talking about 30 or 40 for 303 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Right.
But it wasn't good enough. And this is Kirk Cousins. He is you remember how people used to say that Tony Romo was a great fantasy quarterback?
Yeah.
I'm starting to see that this is Kirk Cousins. He is a stat machine. He's going to get paid on his stats.
Yeah.
But as far as victories, meaningful victories, they're just not there. They're in the division right now. And if I'm not mistaken, Washington is now 0-3 in the division.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's gonna be huge come playoff time.
I mean, because think about this. They're done playing against the Eagles. They have 2 games to go against the Cowboys, and they have a game to go, I think it is, against the Giants. But that's it. That's it. They can make up no more ground now.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, it's tough. I know what you're saying. It's, and they keep giving them these 1-year franchise tag contracts, and they're gonna have to shit or get off the pod here at the end of this season, because at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna move forward with Kirk? If so, go ahead and pay him and move forward with him, and then build the team around him. Okay, but don't just keep going year to year, knowing what you have in him, but also not putting other pieces around him to be successful.
Here's the problem that they've gotten themselves into, okay, is pretty much the Andrew Luck problem, right? You have a 4th round quarterback that comes in, he gets the position after RG3. They're looking for a new quarterback to take them to that next level, right? And now you franchise him 2 times in a row. Now, if you're going to get him on that 3rd year, or on that next contract, you're going to have to pay through the roof. Yeah. And in order to build around him, to get talent around him, you're not going to be able to do it through free agency. Everything is going to have to come through the draft, and that's going to take time in a place like Washington. So the results are not going to match what they are actually looking for. And that's the position that they've put themselves in. Yeah.
No, I hear you. It's a tough position. Like I said, right. So what do you think about Carson Wentz? What are your thoughts on him?
Look, I honestly, I think Carson Wentz is a fabulous quarterback. And the truth of the matter is, I'm looking at that quarterback draft from last year. You're looking at Jared Goff. You're looking at Carson Wentz. Yeah. Jared Goff at the beginning of this year, and especially the way that he looked last year, looked like that was probably going to be the Jamarcus Russell.
Well, you remember he was held out last year for a while, and people kept yelling at Coach. What's his name? He's out of the league now.
8-8, 7-9.
Yeah.
Jeff, I forget his name because they had the HBO special.
Why do I forget his name? But yeah, old Titans coach. But he held him out. So maybe that might have been a good thing for him.
Well, once they put him in there, he looked like he didn't know exactly what he was doing, right? And then you have the off season. You bring in a new coach, a new young way of doing things. Right. You get Todd Gurley back healthy. You make the trade for Sammy
makes a
Watkins.
big difference. That's right.
You got Tavon Austin moving around. That defense was always legit. Now that's the thing.
They've
always had a good defense. Maybe not great defense, but they've always had a good defense that could hang in the game. But they just didn't have the offense to go with it. And now you give Jared Goff the route tree. You give him different weapons to utilize, and you're starting to see why the Rams were so high on him. And then you look at Carson Wentz. I mean, you really can't go wrong between the two because Jared Goff
is
really performing at a high level right now. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I like the guy. You know, I think that he's making strides for this upcoming year. He has a 90 QB rating, has passed for over 1,700 yards. He's far he's thrown 9 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. So he's not doing a lot of bad to the team. He's giving them an opportunity to win. They're leading their division. You look at Carson Wentz. He's leading the NFL in touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
And his team is 6-1.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's looking real good right now. Just what Philly needs, a young quarterback. Like I said, they got a stranglehold on the division right now. If they can keep it going into the second half of the season, because
too many times hurt them last year.
Too many times do we see these hot teams on the first half of the season, and then when the schedule switches up on folks a little bit, teams start to find their identity. Maybe the team that sucked the first half of the season is great the second half of the season. Now you're playing a really good team, as opposed to when you came into the season, it looked like you'd have a pretty easy team to play. Things change a little bit, you know.
Absolutely.
Then you get found out. You know, as soon as somebody gets that formula for you, people start to build on that.
And we saw that with the Minnesota Vikings last year, right? They were, I think it was
5-0. That's
Sam
right.
Bradford got off to a hot start, and then everything just kind of crumbled after that. So, and not just that, but the Eagles did the same thing last year where they jumped out and they were, I think it was 3-0 or maybe 4-0 early on into the season. They had that big game against the Cowboys in which they lost, and then everything kind of spiraled out of control after that. But I think the way that this defense is set up, right?
Yeah.
Losing Peters at the left tackle may be a lot bigger than people really realize.
Right.
Because now his blind side is not protected. And there's a reason why Peters was one of the best left tackles in the game. Losing him is going to be big. Their linebacking core
defensive coordinators are going to exploit that.
Yeah, they're gonna put some pressure on that back end.
That's right.
Absolutely. So, I mean, when you look at Carson Wentz, I think you asked about how do I feel about him. I think he's a franchise quarterback. I'm glad he's in Philly. I think Jared Goff is good. This is that new age quarterback with Tom Brady and Drew Brees getting older, Peyton Manning having retired a year or two ago.
It's a changing of the
new
guard,
age quarterbacks. This really is.
It's happening.
This really
it's
is,
happening
and it feels
so fast.
Like it.
Yeah, it's happening so fast. It's almost happening all at once.
It is.
You know, because, you know, who knows how long Tom Brady, I mean, I know he says he's going to play until he's 45 or whatever, but who really knows?
I mean, because think about
you got Garoppolo. You got Garoppolo sitting on the bench behind Brady, waiting on his opportunity to start. But like you said, Ben Roethlisberger, this could be his last year.
This could be Eli. This could be his last year.
Exactly. Eli could be down in Jacksonville by the end of the year, honestly.
We can see what Eli is now that he doesn't have a dominant defense and a wide receiver that'll go and get his.
He doesn't look. This dude is playing with practice squad guys.
Hey, look,
give me a break.
Eli is a Hall
guys
of Famer.
That don't even know the playbook. Seriously.
Hey, look, Eli is a Hall of Famer. As you always tell me that Eli is a Hall of Famer.
He is. I mean, he's going into the Hall.
He better not.
He's
look
going
at the young talent that's in the league, you got Derek Carr, right? You got Marcus Mariota, Deshaun Watson, who leads the league in QBR, right? You got Dak Prescott, you got Jared Goff, you have Carson Wentz. I mean, Jameis Winston, Cam Newton. I mean,
Andrew Luck, if he ever gets back on the field.
If he ever makes it back on the field.
Yeah.
But you have some good young talent. You're going to have a strong quarterback class that's coming out next year. So the league is turning over the old guard and getting these guys into the league. The problem is going to be based on your philosophy. Do you play them very early or do you set them for a season?
I think the pressure to play them right away is too great.
I mean, look,
especially when you draft them so high. I mean, the going sense is, it used to be a long time ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago, that, you know, even though you draft somebody first, you know, that's our guy. That's our franchise guy, though. You know,
right.
We're going to develop him slowly and this and that. But nowadays, you draft somebody first, they better be on that field come day one.
So tell me this: we're gonna switch it up and we're gonna talk about the Steelers and the saga that's going on up there. But tell me, did you like the hide and go seek routine that Juju Smith-Schuster and who was it? Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, the celebration
this weekend after the touchdown. The celebration.
Yeah. I did.
Because me personally, I thought it was one of the best touchdown celebrations I had seen in a long time.
You got to if the league is giving you carte blanche to say, all right, go ahead and do it.
And not just that, but it took a little bit of creativity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously these guys are a little looking forward to when they do score a touchdown so that they can plan this out and stuff like that. It was funny. I mean, Antonio Brown was standing there. Obviously he wasn't in on it, but I thought it was very funny. And also they reported today that they found his bike. I guess he uses his bike for everything. They found his bike. That's a good thing. They sent a tweet out for that. But the problem with Martavis Bryant.
Yeah.
What is going on with this guy?
Well, look, I mean, the guy feels like that he was a bit of a go-to guy, not a go-to guy. I mean, with Antonio Brown on the league, but he was probably a really good number 2 guy. Right now, he doesn't feel he's getting his due. But when you don't play because of decisions that you make, you might not get your due when you come back. Somebody look, because the thing is, nobody's going to wait for you in the league. All right.
No.
If you make a bonehead decision like he's made several times, mind you, and then you expect for somebody to just save your position, that doesn't happen, man. So this is all on him. He's down to the practice squad now. Not even a practice squad, scout squad. Okay?
Scout squad. Yeah. And when you look at their stats, right? Juju Smith-Schuster, right?
Yeah.
Has 3 touchdowns on the season to Martavis Bryant's 1. He's been targeted 9 times less than Bryant, but he has about the same amount of yards and receptions as Bryant does.
Look, you don't need him.
So and that's basically what you're telling me.
That's what it boils down to.
If you want to pop off at the mouth, you want to be traded, you want to go somewhere else. Look, we're going to send you down to the scout squad. We have more than enough talent here to get the job done. Look,
next
if we
man
have to
up.
throw the ball to Antonio Brown 30 times a game, we will.
Look, and it's tons of guys waiting to get an opportunity to play.
And not just that, you got Le'Veon Bell that's catching the ball as well.
They waiting for fools like you to say some dumb ish like this so that you can get moved to the side so they can get up and play.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And not just that, but it's weird because he's always the one that's popping off at the mouth about who's better than who. You had the whole incident, I think it was a year or 2 ago when they drafted, was it Juju Smith-Schuster, or they had drafted someone and he had tweeted about that guy's coming in to replace you, not me. And then, this time you got him tweeting, well, Juju Smith-Schuster is not better than me. If they just give me what I want, it's just someone needs to take the Twitter machine away from him.
Somebody need to take Twitter
because that's where he's guys. Not just the guys, but a lot of people.
A lot of people in general, absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh man, I tell you that we're gonna have to look at that. So let's talk about your man Cam. What's going on with Cam?
I thought we was just going over the top 10 teams.
Nah, let's talk about Cam. I think
what Cam did. What Cam did this time? What did he do?
You tell me what Cam did this time.
So
Cam seems to not be able to deal with the requirements of talking to the press.
Look, he talked to the press for nearly 10 minutes.
There it is. Look,
look.
I know no one can see this on my screen right now, but what pops up when you look at Cam Newton and you're talking about this story, it says
stormed
Panthers
off, right?
Quarterback Cam Newton rolls his eyes at a reporter's question, asks for another question, and then leaves. I mean, that's all. That is all that it says.
They said he stormed off. I'm like, stormed off? Okay, let me see this.
Right.
All right, I'll watch about 10 minutes of questions and answers.
Okay.
And then one reporter asked a question. I think it was about big plays, and he asked, do you think the Panthers offense has the wherewithal to do it on a consistent basis? Cam says, next question. Not going to answer.
Question. Yeah. Look. At the end of the day,
nobody else
offers
up a question.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Nobody else offers up a question. He says thank you and walks over. Well, but if you just read the headline, you would think that he kicked over the podium and ran off.
That's not what I got from it. I got the eye roll. I got the next question. I mean, look, let's be honest, okay?
Look, if you stay there all day, they will ask you questions all day. So anybody is good.
So if somebody is going to get cut off, answer the question.
That's okay.
So if they ask you a question and you don't answer it,
that happens.
People
leave the podium.
Everybody else. Does anybody else have a question?
I can pull up any interview right now. People leave the podium all the time without answering the last question or without answering a question.
Yeah, you probably can.
They just keep asking you questions as long as you're standing there.
I doubt you can find that. No.
Hey, I see 45 doing it all the time.
I don't see 45 at the podium half the time. Okay.
Look, Cam is Cam. Look, here's the thing on Cam. Seriously, here's the thing on Cam. I watched the game, the Bears game. It was
you're not happy.
It was atrocious. It was really, really bad.
Hey, look, both teams played hard, my man.
No, they didn't. But
Rasheed Wallace, circa 2000,
right? But the first, he had three Carolina had 3 turnovers. The first turnover, you could say it was Cam's fault. He pitched the ball over to Samuel. Samuel drops the ball, hits him right in the face. He drops the ball.
Well, I mean, that's not where he wanted it at, though.
Okay, I don't care. You're a receiver / running back. You are supposed to be able to catch. It ain't like it's a spiral coming at you. It's a pitch. Okay.
Yeah.
So he drops it, pick it up, run it back. Right. Mm-hmm. Second one hits Benjamin in the hands, pops up about 20 yards in the air. That's a pick. Okay. And then the third one, I don't know what he was doing. That was a legit interception. Like, what are you doing? But Cam, he doesn't have the stamina. And I saw this over the last 2 games. The game where he threw over 50 passes, you see his mental focus deteriorating as the game goes on. And he's just not mentally there toward the end of the game.
He's not locked in.
He's not locked in. And it's almost like he I don't want to say the words give up.
Yeah,
but
I mean, look,
almost,
I think that's
it almost looks like that. And and this is why I say any quarterback who throws, you have to be a special dude to throw over 50 times and win. I'm telling you, because the more passes you throw, it is mentally draining. Looking at defenses, looking off defenses, throwing down the field, hitting the route tree 50 times a game. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but that's what he signed up for. Look, you look at his.
So
stats,
okay. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. What do you think? What as a quarterback, coming into the league? What did you think of Cam?
As a quarterback,
what did you expect from him?
You were expecting, based on the way that he set the league on fire, just going out, right? He had the 4,000 yard. I think it was his rookie year. He had some weapons. He had a good running game at the time, and he had one of the best offensive lines at the time. So a lot of that has changed, right?
Okay.
When you look at you had, what was it, D'Angelo Williams, you had Jonathan Stewart as well, you had Steve Smith Sr. Out there. So he had some weapons, right? He had some really, really good weapons. And over the time, the offensive line has changed, some retirements and things like that. So the offensive line isn't as dominant as what it was.
The offensive line is putrid.
Yeah, okay. I give you that.
Along with the running backs. You're talking about running backs that are averaging 1 to 2.5 yards a carry.
Right. All of that is great. But here's the thing that
really
we're missing
great,
on this is the fact that this guy was the NFL MVP.
Right.
The NFL MVP. We're not talking about someone that just puts up great stats and we're just like, okay, yeah, they're a good player. Okay, like a Phillip Rivers or so on and so forth. This guy was the NFL MVP.
Now let me stop.
The bar is a little bit higher.
He was the MVP.
Just a little bit higher for that guy than it is
he
for
was
other players.
He was the MVP. But if you look at his stats previous to the Bears game, okay, if you look at his stats last year or the year he was the MVP and up to that point, they were essentially identical. He really won the MVP over the last 10 games of the season. Because you remember Russell Wilson was on fire as well the last 10 games of the season.
Right.
Russell Wilson was, who else? There were like 2 other guys who were really lighting it up going down the stretch.
Here's
the thing is,
are you going to talk about the fact that the guy over his last 2 games has 1 touchdown, and 5 interceptions?
Yeah, it's tough.
That is not. It's tough. That is tough. Any way you look at it, that is tough sledding for the franchise. The franchise. He is the franchise. No other guy other than possibly Luke Kuechly is the face of that franchise.
Would you sit him?
Here's the problem with setting Cam. Here's the problem with setting Cam.
Are you trading?
If you sit Cam, Cam might just go into a shell. I mean, we already see him sulk at the
but if you
doing a press conference.
But if you sitting him, what does it matter if he goes into a shell?
I mean, at the end of the day, they're losing anyway, right?
They're losing anyways.
You got to go with the horse that you roll with, right?
You got to.
Sitting won't necessarily get it done, but I think that the team is going to. Here's another issue that I think Carolina has is that Carolina got the shiny Corvette. Right, they got the shiny Corvette of the draft. They got McCaffrey, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to be able to do this, and we're going to be able to do that with him, and we're going to be able to put him in all types of different things and all types of different packages and things like that." But they don't necessarily know how to use him.
They have not,
and that is hurting them.
How to really use him? I agree with that.
And so I think, with that, you're getting away from the identity of the actual offense, which was a ground and pound. Right, offense. Now they're trying to get cute, and we're going to use this guy like this, and we're going to use him like. But they don't necessarily know how to use him, and that gets you away from who you are as a team.
Right. No, I agree. I think the play calling has been really suspect over the last couple of games, and like I said, Cam does shoulder some of the blame. Absolutely. I mean, anytime you're the quarterback, you're basically going to shoulder all the blame.
You're going to have to. You're going to have
for all the wins, and and the defense takes all the credit for all the wins.
At the end of the day,
but yeah, he's got a lot of growing up to do. I don't think he's ever going to grow up. Like, I don't think he's going to grow up as a NFL quarterback. Cam is like a wide receiver's mind in an NFL position.
Dude, you know what I'm saying? I just gotta go back.
Like, if you put a mic in front of Dez Bryant's face every week, or if you put a mic in front of Antonio Brown's face every week, you might get some Cam. But they're wide receivers; they can do that.
Right, diva receivers can do that.
That's what I'm saying. They can do that. That's what I'm saying. We expect that of them, and I think. That's what Cam is.
He's the quarterback. He is.
I agree,
he is the corporate CEO of that team.
I agree. That's why I said he's a wide receiver in a quarterback position. He's a wide receiver mind in a quarterback position. A wide receiver personality in a quarterback position.
The rolling of the eyes. It's.
I mean, come on, man. That question was stupid.
I mean,
he would have been better off saying, it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
They probably would have cut him. So look, let's keep it moving. Let's get on this NBA season. Look, the NBA has come back roaring. We saw Gordon Hayward take a big time injury. That's gonna hurt the Boston Celtics as far as their cohesiveness for the season, because he was going to be a big part of that team going forward.
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, there's a lot of storylines that are going on throughout the NBA, which is drawing a little bit of the I guess the attention away from the NFL, because you got Giannis, right, Antetokounmpo, where there's a lot of talk about him going for that MVP.
35.
You got Lonzo Ball
every night,
right?
Lonzo Ball.
Look, you got the roster.
Almost got a triple double.
Constantly being built up in Cleveland. And your boys Golden State throwing mouthpieces at referees and
2-2 right
his
now.
Cheap shots in
2-2 right now. 2 L's on the season already. Like you said, you got the Celtics up there. They look like the Cleveland Cavaliers before LeBron came back, right? Kyrie Irving, 9 for 28, every night, getting it in. You got Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go after Bledsoe, honestly.
I'm gonna tell you what, if they get him, there's going to be some problems. There's going to be some problems.
I think to give those guys a little more firepower, because honestly, I mean, they've got a solid team, and obviously they're in the East, so they got a chance. No, you know, you got Lonzo Ball going off against the who he went off against the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
Hey, the summer league team, the only summer league team playing in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns, right? Lonzo goes for nearly a triple-double like he did in summer league. Is that a coincidence?
Look, here's my thing.
I think the score was like 130 to 135.
Here's my thing with Lonzo, right? The problem, I think he's a good kid, right? I definitely think that he's a good kid. I think that his dad talking is starting to wear on people, right?
It's gonna get some people to come after him a little harder.
And at the end of the day, I think people were going to come after him hard anyway because of the fact he was, you know, number 2 draft pick overall. He, you know, what he's allowed Markelle Fultz to really fly under the radar because no one's talking about the number 1 draft pick. Right. Everyone's talking about the number 2 draft pick.
Well, his shoulders hurt.
But the problem with that is that when you start taking shots at teams and you start taking shots at players, you talking about the Wizards coming in tonight, right? You talking about that Lonzo, not the Lakers now. Lonzo will not lose twice in the week.
No, he ain't gonna do it.
You know, not the Lakers,
right?
But Lonzo.
They about to find out real quick why what was that? The high school team was like, "Yo, you need to go, man."
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm not so sure that the stuff that he's saying isn't more about his son than it is about the team. And to me, that's not good. And I'll be honest with you, that sounds good early on in the season when everything is still fresh and you're 1-2 and you have some expectations, but you don't have high expectations. But once you get around game number 40 or game number 50 and you're about 12 to 15 games under 500.
Yeah.
And guys are tired of losing and your dad is still talking.
Right.
That's going to be a problem.
You got a lot of rookies on that team. Young guys on that team, okay, and it takes a while. It takes a while just for the NBA guy or the college guy. We talked about this. You know, college guys play 30 some games,
right?
You got to play 80 games, 70 plus games in the league,
right?
It takes you a while just to build that stamina up to go that far. That's why you don't see players really peak until they're 25, 26, 7, 8 years into the league. You don't really see their full potential until then. Their body has to get built up to that amount of wear and tear that's going to go down on it, 9 in and 9 out, and then training year round. I mean, you know, in college, you had the opportunity to go to school and chill out in the off season or whatnot. Yeah, you trained a little bit, but you didn't train as hard as you train now. So, it's going to take the Lakers a long time for this project to build up. And I hope they're patient.
Absolutely.
But their patience may wear thin with LeVar. That's where it's going to wear thin.
Yeah, if they don't start winning, you know, all of this noise becomes a little null and void, right?
It becomes irritating because it will become irritating when everybody else is going to the playoffs and you still sitting there running your trap. People are gonna be like, yo, dude, just be quiet.
Right. Let us handle this. And what's going to happen is it's going to become public, right? Yeah. It's going to become notes from possibly Magic talking to LeVar or
trying to calm him down. Magic
other players talking through the media to the dad saying, "Hey, look, we got this inside." Look, and I don't for one second think that this kid isn't a good kid. From all reports, he's down to earth and so on and so forth. But there comes a time when you got to let that guy just run. Just let him do his thing. Let him play his game and just let it be that.
Yeah.
That's the problem that the Lakers
He's a good kid. I'm sure he's got a good head on his shoulder. He's the eldest out of 3. Right. So I'm pretty sure he does. He's probably the most level-headed out of all 3 of them.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's just the way the dynamics work when you got 3 kids. You know what I'm saying?
So are you on the Giannis MVP bandwagon?
Yeah.
That's you want to get your vote?
Yeah. Why not? I mean, why not? I mean, the dude is dominating. He's dominating. I don't see why
he is playing well. I think, honestly, me personally, I think LeBron will probably get the MVP this year. But I think that Giannis is playing well.
LeBron going to take off like 8 or 9 games this season.
He is.
You don't get the MVP when you take games off. I'm sorry, you don't.
Of course you do.
You can't just take games off and then be like, oh yeah, I'm still the MVP. No.
Yeah, well, you know what? Steph took a couple games off in prime time and still got the MVP. So it happens.
No, he took quarters off, not games.
Nah, he took games off. Look, his ankles was hurt. Okay. And Steph
speaking
was
of ankles,
out, and now
speaking of ankles, D Rose back on the time.
Weakest ankles in the game.
Yo, did you see that? You saw that clip of him hurting his ankles on 2K, right? Walking back to the bench. I sent you that.
Yeah. It's unfortunate for them, but the thing that team does have is they have so much depth.
They got depth. Right? They just have to fit it together. That's the thing. And when you got so many great players, it's fine when you got 2 or 3 guys because you know who the leaders are. But when you got all those guys, man, it's like, yo.
Yeah. But you know what the thing is that when you have all of those guys, and I understand trying to mesh those guys together, but they also all understand that they're going for a championship, and they pretty much understand that it's them and Golden State, right? No matter what goes on, we're going to take this whole season, we're going to figure this thing out, we're going to get a great rotation going. We've already moved D.
They might get Bledsoe too.
Bringing JR back.
LeBron said he want Bledsoe too.
Hey, look, let me tell you, everybody's putting in for Eric.
LeBron said he wanted everybody.
Look, he said bring them on to the land.
Yo,
right?
you can't keep getting every free agent available just to go up against a team who literally built their team from the ground up.
Yeah, they got KD and they
got KD. They already beat him before they had KD.
Zaza, Pachulia.
Oh my God!
So on and so
from
forth.
the Mavericks, you mean to tell me he was a world beater? Give me a break.
Look, LeBron was drafted to Cleveland, right?
And he left.
Right?
He was like, I'm out of here.
But he came back. He said, look, I'm going to win one for the land. And he did it.
Kyrie did it. Yeah. And Kyrie was like, I'm out.
I bet you Kyrie looking at Boston right now like, yeah.
Kyrie like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn, I could have did one more year.
So just maybe one more year?
Maybe he could have finished out his contract.
He could have finished out his whole contract.
If he could have did one more year, he definitely could have did 2 more years.
Look, I know as soon as Gordon Hayward went down, Kyrie looking at him like, man, you know what? That Cam Newton eye roll had to be coming from Kyrie. Like,
that's what it was. Look, that's these young guys, man. You know.
Yeah.
These young guys, man. These youngins.
It's we're going to see exactly what Boston does this year, but again, I think I might jump on that Giannis bandwagon. We're going to see how the season plays out. Golden State, they don't look. Golden State is allowing Memphis. The one team that I love watching play against Golden State is Memphis, because Memphis pushes don't care. They don't care what type of lineup you got in. If you got a center in the game or not, they're going to play Marc Gasol, and if they need to, Marc Gasol will play point guard.
Right.
They don't change up anything.
Right.
They play their game when they play against Golden State.
They do.
And Steph got so frustrated that he threw his mouthpiece.
He got fouled. He got fouled. I'm the 2-time MVP.
Really?
You better respect me. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
it was ridiculous. Look, it was ridiculous. Okay, $50,000. Are you serious?
Yeah, that was absolutely right. That was absolutely right. It should have been higher.
Did the mouthpiece even hit him?
Which goes to my next point. We're having a lot of talk between fans and these players, right? You got KD leaving the court, and he's pointing to the imaginary ring that he has on his fingers, right? And you have the Kyrie clip where the fan asks Kyrie, "Hey, where's LeBron?" And Kyrie shoots back at him a bad inappropriate thing back to the fans, and you have a lot of going back and forth between the fans and the players. And the only way that you're really going to get the attention of the players, that you can't be doing that, is to fine them high amounts of dollars.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you should have the mental fortitude or the mental aptitude to say, you know what? We're going to be criticized. No matter what's going on, we're going to be criticized. And these fans, they pay for their, as long as it's not something where they're talking about their mom and they're talking about their wives and they're talking about their kids, I think everything is pretty much fair game. I mean,
but look, the fans are jerks, man. They can be jerks. All right.
Yeah.
They're going to say what they're going to say. No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Listen, when you're overseas and you go to a soccer match, right?
Say it to Ron Artest.
Here's the thing: when you go to a soccer match, the things that they say to you, and the fact that you're taking the ball out and you're literally about 5 feet away from that.
Come say it to my face. That's what Ron said.
See, and that right there is what the NBA should be trying to get away from.
They threw that cup on Ron. It was on, and that's what we need to see more of.
Well, see, now that is crossing the line.
That's what we need to see more of. Come say it to my face.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing but space and opportunity,
well, we see that on what is that, WWE on Monday nights and SmackDown on Thursday nights. I mean, we see wrestling, so we don't necessarily need to see that.
You know what I'm saying? Old couch potatoes out there running their mouth. Yo, the dude was fouled. It should have been called. It's disrespectful that the ref didn't call it. He deserved to get that mouthpiece thrown at him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
And see, if your son was the referee, I'm sure you wouldn't be saying the same thing.
I said, man, you should have called that foul.
Whatever. So let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
We got the World Series last night, 100 degrees in LA, which is like, I don't know exactly how you get around that, but 100 degrees in LA, right? And it was a phenomenal game. It was really just two bad pitches in that whole game that Dallas Keuchel threw.
Yeah.
And they made him pay for it. Your question is, does it move the needle for me?
Houston
Absolutely.
Dodgers. Houston Dodgers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think
you got the Dodgers and the Astros. Does it move the needle for me? Absolutely.
Yeah. You got Clayton up in there. Okay. You got Yasiel. Look, LA's a weird market, man. Like, I know.
Not really.
You know, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, LA Dodgers, right?
Right.
I don't really follow the Dodgers, so I don't know what the support for the team is like in LA. I know it was packed out, but you know, I just don't feel like it's a. I mean, it ain't the Cubs, or it ain't.
Here's the thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so to give you an understanding of the Dodgers, okay, LA, who had been without their NFL franchise since what, 94? I think it was, when the Oakland Raiders finally left, and then you had the St. Louis Rams.
Right.
They moved from LA, they moved there, and of course before that they were the Los Angeles Rams,
right,
and so on and so forth. But in that market, their professional teams are really USC football, the Dodgers, and the Lakers, and they're perfectly fine with those three teams.
They're happy with that.
They are perfectly fine with those three teams. USC gets what the Rams hoped that they could get as far as the stars at the games and the rappers and the Hollywood actors and all of those people coming out to USC to watch the game. That is their professional football team, the USC Trojans. And then you have the Dodgers, right, who play in Chavez Ravine. They tend to always draw well, especially when they're winning, right? When they're winning, you go back to 1988 when the last time that they won the World Series. You got Clayton Kershaw as far as one of the best pitchers in the major leagues.
Absolutely.
Their fans are behind them, if not more so than the Cubs. Because with the Cubs, what you have is you have a portion that people don't like to talk about, but you have a portion, and it really goes along racial lines that really support the Cubs, and then you have the other half that really support the White Sox.
Yeah.
But in LA, you have fans
inner
that
city team
really go for the Dodgers.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, the Angels, you get your fans with the Angels,
you never hear about the Angels.
But those Dodger fans are always there.
I agree. Yeah, you're right. You know, you do have the Angels down there, but you never really hear about them when in comparison to the Dodgers.
No, absolutely.
You got those big name owners with the Dodgers, Magic Johnson, and part owner of the Dodgers and whatnot. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. And
I
wish my Yankees could have been there, But
I know you do. I know you do.
I'll pull for LA.
Nationals could be there. I really do.
Yeah, they choked again, once again.
And so did the Yankees.
What was that, like 5-6 years in a row? They can get there though. They can get there.
Yeah, they get to the playoffs. Dusty Baker, they ended up firing him. I thought that was a wrong decision. I thought that Dusty Baker did a good job this year. Couldn't get him over the hump this year. But I thought that Dusty was doing well enough to at least come back next year. So I'm a little bit disappointed in the front office for not bringing Dusty back. And the problem with it is now is that they're looking for a manager to come in and be almost just like Dusty, just not Dusty. They want someone that is player friendly, but they don't want Dusty Baker, who is known as being player friendly. So I don't necessarily get that, but I'm sure Mike Rizzo in the front office, they'll get that figured out. But when you look at Houston, you're talking about one of the better teams in Major League Baseball. This is, this is one of the first times where you have the Dodgers who won 104 games. You got the Astros
200
who won
win
101
teams.
games.
200 win teams.
It's one of the things that is beautiful about it is you got two of the better teams in Major League Baseball playing for the championship.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
No doubt. It just boggles my mind how they can play 160 games or whatever it
162.
is. 162 games in like half a year. A little more than half a year, but they'll get right back at it after this is all done in the spring. But that's a lot of games, man.
Absolutely. So Colin Kaepernick, he filed a grievance against the league for collusion, right? And you and I were talking. Legally, does he have any grounds to stand on? What say you?
No,
you don't.
Unless they got some documents floating around. Unless them dudes sent some email because they didn't know no better. Unless they got some audio recordings. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
but it looks like he's after 45. Okay,
right.
From what he said and his influence on people maybe not hiring him, but
absolutely,
to me it's like, okay, was somebody ready to hire you and then got a call to say don't hire him? Like, was he ever in a position to get a quarterback position, to be employed?
Right. I mean,
you know what I mean? To me, if he was never looked at by anybody,
right?
I don't know.
Well, we know for sure that the Ravens were looking at him, right? And I'm sure other teams were looking at
that
him.
Tweet.
I think that what's going to happen is that his attorney is going to have to decide about the actions of the teams.
Now you mentioned the Ravens, right? Right. The Ravens come out, they express some interest, they're talking to him. The tweet comes out, whatever. Right. With Ray Lewis and the owner up there, and the Ravens back off.
Ray was praying. That's right. Ray was praying, right?
He was praying. He was praying. He had his
praying.
glasses on. He was praying.
Yeah.
So you have that situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that you could say he was pretty close to being employed there. He's probably about as close as he's been with any other team.
He was brought in for a workout with Seattle.
True.
Right? You had the Seattle Seahawks that brought him in.
Yep.
You have the Giants where they were talking about that they asked the fans about the fact that the fans were writing in and were talking about how it would affect them and their bottom line and so on and so forth. So tomorrow they didn't want to go that route. And I'm sure there's numerous times that we don't necessarily hear about.
Right.
But again, that's up to his attorney. Right?
But what is it? But you see what I'm saying?
It doesn't have to be the owners. It doesn't have to be the owners. It could be anyone in the front office. It could be anyone. As long as they have a pattern of either them calling or doing something that is getting together to block him from that.
So Seahawks give him a workout, right?
Right.
Seahawks say, we don't.
He's good enough to be a starter in this league.
We don't think he's ready.
No, they're not.
Whatever they
say.
They
said that they believe that he should be a starter. That's the wording that they use. That he should be a starter.
Just doesn't fit. That's what they said in public. Okay.
Right. And a lot of other teams are saying that he doesn't fit, even though they are running a spread offense. Not to say anything about that, because that is fact. When you look at football on Sunday, you see a lot of jet sweeps and all types of spread offense.
Yeah, McCarthy say how much time they've got invested in Hundley, and he's just not gonna take all that time away from Hundley. He invested 3 years in him. So
absolutely,
what exactly? What is collusion? Like at what level? If Cap goes into Ravens and say, talking to him maybe on his way to getting a workout, then the tweet comes out. If other owners back off after that, is that collusion?
Well, it's going to be.
Did he hurt himself with that situation?
It's going to be based on, I guess, whatever the definition that they're going to use in the court case, right? And I, for the life of me, I don't understand how a spouse or a girlfriend can send a text and then you don't get a job based on that, because you're not employing the spouse or the girlfriend, but
you need to check her.
That if that's the reason that they want to give, then to them, whatever it is. But what's going to happen is I believe that they feel as though that they have a case here. It's going to be hard to prove, but it's going to be very interesting to find out exactly what's going on. Now, having said that, with the collusion case, we're talking about the NFL Players Union and the NFL possibly sending out an invite for him to come into the next round of meetings that they're going to have, talking about the anthem protests and things about social issues.
You think he'll go? Michael Bennett said,
hope he doesn't.
We ain't talking.
I hope he doesn't.
How long are we going to drag this out?
Let's be honest.
If he doesn't get a position this year, mind you, he was 1-6. 1-6 last year. It wasn't like they were. Well, I mean, his stats were okay, but it wasn't like they were world. It wasn't like they were world beaters.
His stats were good.
The team lost.
His stats were better than Cam's.
The team lost.
Yeah, and the team is worse.
Cam
the
won.
Team wasn't expected
the team
to win,
won
but
more
his
games
stats are better than
with Cam's poor stats than they won with Cap's great stats. Do you want a guy that's a stat stuffer? Or do you want a winner?
Here's the problem. The reason why I don't want him to go is because he's not a part of the league.
I agree.
How do you expect him? How do you expect him to come in and talk about social injustice and inequalities
when you're not part of the league?
That you're not even willing to give him a shot.
No, I totally agree. I don't think.
I'm hoping that he doesn't go.
Right. It wouldn't make sense for him to go.
Because that's like a slap in the face. It's like, hey, look, because you brought this issue up, we want you to come in and speak on the behalf, and we want to understand exactly what's going on. But by the way, you're not good enough to be a quarterback.
It's basically an opportunity for the league to try to suppress him. But he hasn't really, you don't hear much from Cap, honestly.
No, you don't. And my opinion is, I think we should hear from him. I would love, we see Oprah Winfrey on 60 Minutes. I would love for him to sit down with Oprah Winfrey and talk to her. Or he could, look, you know what? I'm really open to having him on our podcast. That would be great.
Absolutely. But I think it might be best for him to, I think the position he's in right now is a good enough position. Now, I'm not going to say he's he's not a smart dude or he might not say the right thing, but I think once he opens his mouth, good or bad, I think everything he says will be dissected and a narrative will be put around it and to try to demean him or whatever. So I think it's best that he stays quiet.
And I look, if that's the issue,
he could say everything right. He could eloquently put everything the way it should be. I agree.
I'll give him the credit.
But anytime he says something, it's gonna be turned around on him. It's gonna be dissected.
Right. But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. Is the fact that you have everyone else speaking on your behalf right now. Okay. And I thought he did a great job last year when he articulated in the locker room exactly what he was doing and the reason why he was doing it. And now you have everyone else speaking on your behalf. The people that you talk to, the people that's in your circle, they're speaking on your behalf. Look, I want to hear from you, right? I want to hear exactly your thoughts, but I understand because as soon as it's said, then you're going to have the half of the people that don't like you. They're going to say something about you. And then the people that do like you, they're going to be behind you as well. So it's almost a sum game.
It's a catch-22.
Zero.
It's a catch-22. So Cap will be 32 next week or 30 years old next week. Right. 30-year-old quarterback looking for a job. Hadn't played in a year. I mean, we thought Ray Rice would kind of get that opportunity again. Maybe. He was looking forward to getting back in the league. You kind of felt like maybe he would get a workout from a team here or there, maybe kind of sneak his way back in. Cap has a larger profile. I think if he doesn't get a position this year, okay, I can't see him playing in the league again. I think the league, I think the league's position on this, whether they're colluding or not, is that they can wait this out. Because you got to understand, the league is going to follow the money. Where's the money? Right? Is it on Cap's side? Is it on Cap's people protesting because he's not playing? Or is it on the people's side who don't want to see anybody not standing for the anthem? Right. And those guys protesting. Because whatever side they let, that's what side. Because, it's a business. It's a business. These guys, these owners, they don't care. All they want to do is make sure that bottom dollar is still rolling in.
No, you're absolutely right.
So they'll read the tea leaves.
It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird to see exactly how this plays out. Right?
I know how it's going to play out. I don't think he's going to get picked up.
No, I don't think he's going to be picked up.
I mean, with the quarterbacks you got rolling around in the league right now, if he hasn't gotten a call, a workout, something, I just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, you got to understand, whoever brings him in, they got to work out. He says he's been staying in shape, but they got to see if he's still in football shape. They got to work him out. They got to see if he's still, got it. They haven't seen him play in nearly a year. All right. So you still have to do your due diligence. It's not like you can just take him and throw him on the field. You probably could, but if he gets on the field and then bombs, what do you look like? You don't want to take that chance. So you still have to do your due diligence. And if nobody's gotten to that point to even do some due diligence with him, talk to him, see where he's at, see what kind of shape he's in, see if he's ready to, get back on the football field. I just don't think it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen this year, it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, you look at the names, you look at Brandon Weeden, you look at some of these quarterbacks that are getting calls in the league.
Come on.
Aren't really good. I really don't think he's going to get a call. Which is unfortunate, but like I said, we're definitely gonna keep you guys up to date on that, and we'll discuss it a little bit more based on when it goes to court and everything like that, and what comes of these protests and when that anthem talk and everything like that, especially with the union and Roger Goodell.
A lot of court cases. Ezekiel Elliott, still in the crosshairs.
Yeah, which is even funnier because Jarvis Landry, the NFL just cleared him.
Goodness,
they just cleared Jarvis Landry, and guess what? No games.
Wow. Hey, look, no games. Let me tell you, he probably he cooperated, right?
It's possible. It's possible,
as opposed to Ezekiel Elliott, who did not.
Yeah,
and chose to take this route of sticking it to the man, so to speak. I'm gonna fight him in court.
Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. It's. I think he plays this Sunday against the Redskins, and then I believe it's due in court on Monday. I think it is. At 8:00 or 9:00. Whether or not they're gonna
we'll get another 2 weeks stay. We'll probably take him out the last 6 weeks of the season, right when the Cowboys are clipping.
I think that the judge is actually going to move it to the off season, sometime February or May. February, March. April, May time frame.
Nah, the judge gonna be like, look, I don't want nothing to do with this. Whatever Roger says goes.
He'll definitely make a rendering.
Those are the rules.
I definitely think a judgment will be made, but it'll just be pushed back, right?
All right.
So we'll see. We'll definitely see. You got anything else?
No, that's it.
Yes, sir. Now you have been certified informed. I invite you to like our page on Facebook and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Please leave feedback, as we like to hear exactly how you feel as though that we are doing. And as always, you can follow us on our website at www.0400acrossthestreet.com and follow us on Twitter at 0400ATS. We're also on the Google Play Store under the podcast. Just look for 0400 Across the Street. We want your input and your feedback, so stay connected. I want to thank DJ Chill for the beats, Ron Dungy for all the graphic work, Pat Flynn for all of his advice and setup, and all of our listeners who take their time to give us great opinions and feedback. We really and deeply appreciate you all. We promise to make the next one our best one. We'll be here the next time with you. You better be. Don't miss it.
We out.
We out.